to be here. My name is Andrea, and you are watching me at Knit LA here on YouTube. And today is really exciting for me personally because this marks 1 year of podcasting and the inception of this channel. So I'm feeling so good about it. As I say in almost every episode, I think that I'm just blown away by how generous everyone is with their love and support. And I've managed to reach so many more of you than I even expected. And I really do consider us friends. We're friends in fiber, and I'm sure many other crossroads. So anyway, thank you so much for being here and continuing to be here. And every once in a while, I do like to plug a little request for, if you're enjoying the content here, what you're seeing, I ask you to please subscribe. This just helps me reach an even broader swath of wonderful crafters out there. And yeah, it just helps this channel grow, as well as giving the videos a like. So yeah, I would appreciate all those two things greatly. And of course, if there's any questions or any comments, I hope you'll continue to leave them for me in the comment section below. So, happy birthday, Knit LA, okay? And I actually want to celebrate, and I want to celebrate in a way that I will describe more in detail later, but it does involve a little stash busting. So one of my very favorite sort of historically momentous hand dyers from Wales called Posh Yarn, and they are a husband and wife team dyeing up the most extraordinary bases and colors. And I've been knitting with their yarn for many, many years, as both my mom and my aunt were avid purchasers, customers, and would often give me lots of goodies. So I am very fortunate to have been left a very large legacy of that in an inheritance from my aunt. I miss her dearly, but I do think of her daily. So I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by all of this amazing wool. She was really a collector, and you know, I love that description. Rather than, like, you know, obsessing negatively about the amount of yarn one has amassed, thinking of it as a collection is a much finer, gentler, appropriate, really, way of looking at things. So that's how I'm reframing all of that. As I had a tendency to feel a little like overwhelmed by my stash, but now this idea of a collection really, it's really true. It's not so much, that's really what it is. So I enjoy the yarn for what it is. There's a lot of just intrinsic value in the wool, in the colors. There are many, many yarn purchases, one single skein, things like that, where I'm okay if I don't knit with it. I mean, I think eventually I will knit with it. Excuse me, having a hot flash, even though it's really cold. it's really cold here in LA. Oh yeah, for those of you that are new, welcome. I am an artist and a crazy knitter who lives in Los Angeles. And I've been knitting since I was 17. And yeah, I'm here to just share it all with you. So of course, the first thing that we have to just discuss is this insanely gorgeous shawl that I finished. And I've been posting, I think, yeah, I posted. This beauty has been in progress for several weeks. It is the Laneus shawl by Teti Lutsak. And I'm gonna just bring it close. And I love it. Someone pointed out that all these colors are exactly in the painting above our bed. And you know, of course they are. I noticed that myself, but I was like, okay, not intentional, but clearly, you know, yeah. It's all around us. Anyway, this shawl is very generous, very beautiful. There are lots of textured stitches. There's color work. There is garter, some garter breaks, which is where I sort of decided to start the fading. So one of the intentions, and one of the reasons I wanted to knit this shawl is I had seen it on Instagram, and I tagged the Instagram account on my Instagram. I saw this in a beautiful faded version, and most of the samples are done in just 2 colors because there is a lot of texture. I'm gonna try and, I don't know if the camera is focusing on it, but there is beautiful, beautiful stitches and texture that do slightly get lost in the kind of variegated yarns. But I just thought, you know, I haven't done a lot of fading, so I really wanted to kind of level up my fading. And that's what I did, and I actually feel like this was very successful doing that. And I used, so the first kind of colors of pink that I used are, this is a Farmer's Daughter fiber sock club called like the Strawberry Fields and Strawberry Wine, and I paired it with this beautiful Rowan Cashmere Haze in a very, very soft pink. And so the 2 of those made up this main color here in the front. And then I really wanted to use this skein. This was a gift last winter from Julia, and it was through La Mercerie's sock gifting at the holidays. It's a really cool, it's just a cool little event where you are matched with a partner, and then you can select a wonderful sock skein and whatever other goodies and notes, and mail that off to a complete stranger, but who stops being a stranger pretty much when you first make the connection, because you know you're trying to find out what people, you know, what they like and colorways and all this, so you sort of already get a sense of who they are. This is La Bienne in the merino sock. Let me just make sure that is what it is. Merino super sock. It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, and this is the colorway Vintage Grello, which is just the most beautiful, gorgeous color. And I paired this with the same colorway in Bienne silk mohair, which I ran out of. So, but that's sort of more this section. So I sort of faded that in. It's really hard for me to tell if this is even working, but I faded that in. And then for the color work, I used Nutiden Blaljus. I don't know how to pronounce it. BLALJIS, which is this. Here, I actually have it. Which is this really incredibly stunning blue. I was very excited to use this, and so I just decided it was going to be these flowers because I just could not wait to work with it, even though I didn't really know what it was going to be. But this took barely any, so like I don't even know, like I don't even think it was 2 grams. So anyway, but what I love and what I had hoped was that working with a sort of twisty, super washy, silky yarns, and then the color work, which is mosaic color work, on top in this like unspun, fluffy cloud of a yarn, of a wool, created exactly what I wanted, which is these very dimensional, color work pieces. And so when you look at it, and I don't know if you can tell here, but the flowers lay on top of the rest of the fabric. And it just makes for like just a special, dimensional, beautiful detail. So now, of course, I want to do all my color work in Nutiden. I want to create this sort of quilty fabric again. And so I'm sort of mulling some ideas about how to achieve that. I think because the fact this is slip stitch mosaic color work lends itself even more because, actually, wait, it's not mosaic, excuse me. It's rusamine, which means that often the color work, you're sort of dragging to the front of the fabric and then knitting around it to secure it. I love this technique of rusamine. Actually, that lets me, I have an idea suddenly. So yeah, it's not mosaic. It's regular color work and rusamine. Anyway, so it's faded through the vintage grello, and then at the very end, because I didn't have enough of the mohair, and I really wanted to use this color, I faded into the darkest color, and that color is actually quite incredible, this wool. But now I can't, oh here, no. Huh. Well, anyway, did it fall? Oh, it fell. Okay, well, I'll just tell you what it is, and I'll try and hold it up closer. The very bottom is Dream in Color. It has a strange name. It's called Naked Shame. I don't really understand that, but anyway, the color is incredible. It's just this kind of yellowy, muddy, greenish, yellowish, rusty. It's really gorgeous. And it is a base that I have never heard of. I had worked with their yarn years ago. This base is called Butterfly BFL. It's a fingering weight, and it is, I think it's 70% BFL and 30% cashmere. It is so soft and so beautiful. I would love to make a sweater out of this yarn. I'm not sure this colorway still exists because I went to look it up and try and find more, but it doesn't seem to exist. But there are other colorways. So this was just a really fun, kind of experimental project. Fading is, you know, as I've said before, is an extremely popular technique that really came to all of us through Andrea Mowry. And I was not drawn to it initially, but very much this year I love it. I love how it's such a beautiful way to blend colors and yarns and just create this really soft, moving, watercolory, kind of painterly fabric. So I had attempted to do a little bit of fading previously on my Pierre Shawl by Stephen West, but I think it just, because the colors, there was too much contrast in the colors, and so it just didn't quite have that same sort of liquidy fluidity that that this does. I still love the Pierre Shawl no matter what, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so Laneus Shawl, there are so many gorgeous iterations on Ravelry. I have put mine in up on Ravelry in my project page, and I will definitely link that in the show notes below. But I recommend this pattern because it's engaging, it's beautiful, it's sort of, especially, you just can't wait to get to the flower blossoms, and then the textured section, it's really pretty rhythmic. I did wind up using stitch markers for every repeat, which was a lot. I mean, I think there's like 26, eventually, you know, it grows and it grows and it grows. So, but I did use, I think it's every 16 stitches, because it was just increasingly getting more and more difficult for me to read and go, you know, if I made a mistake, I didn't want to have to go all the way back. So it really helped. And yes, I love you stitch markers. And I really remember, you know, when I was knitting a lot of lace shawls, I used stitch markers like constantly, every single repeat, just to keep one sane. So yeah. Anyway, I love this shawl. I'm gonna wear it a ton. I love pink. I'm really like in love with pink right now. And this I'm wearing with, I've worn on here a lot. I think maybe it's my most worn knit. This is I think it's called the Novice Cardigan, and it's in a chunky mohair. I did the size large. I wanted something really oversized and blankety, and that's exactly what I got. And I find that I can wear this with a lot of different things. So yeah, and it looks really good with the shawl. And yeah, it's really quick, this cardigan. It's up, I think it's like a 10.5 needle, so it's a really quick knit. So that is what I finished. I also finished a pair of socks. There's a pink theme here, peeps. All right, so these are not blocked yet, but I thought just to show them, I would put them on the sock blockers. These are the Daily Socks by Summer Lee Knits. And I used a Farmer's Daughter Fiber Sock Squad skein that I received, and I wrote down what this is called. Hold on, I couldn't find the band. This is called Rocky Mountain Pearls, and it was from May of 2023, and it came with this beautiful little lavender skein, kind of lavender, periwinkle. And I've used that for a little bit of the cuff and the toe. So this pattern is called the Daily Sock by Summer Lee, and it's a really sweet pattern. It's a slip stitch. Let me show you. It's a slip stitch repeat. It's a 4-row repeat, very easy to memorize. I also love the heel, which is also kind of a slip stitch heel. Is that showing up? And then I think she does too, but you know, the base of the foot is just knit and stockinette. So really simple pattern, cuff down. I made these for my sister, my other sister. I had knit her a pair of socks for her birthday. I think it was either last year, possibly the year before. And somehow they came out 2 completely different sizes in the foot. And it was just like mortifying. So she doesn't know this, but I decided to make her another pair because I really goofed up that pair. Anyway, so these are gonna go to my sister in June, and I really like the sock yarn. And I do kind of miss getting these membership skeins. They're so much fun. It feels like, you know, a little present every month, but it felt a little excessive. So I decided to push pause on that last year. So anyway, yeah, but it's nice to use them and not feel overwhelmed. So those are my 2 finished objects. And let's see, I am working on a couple of other things. So I started talking about this last episode, but I've gotten some progress on my Muscari sweater. This is the Muscari by Midori Hirose. It is a worsted weight, beautiful spring design. It has these gorgeous lace. It's got a lace panel sort of on the yoke. And if you look very closely, again, I don't know if you can see it, but it is in the shape of Muscari. And if you're familiar with the flower, or if you're not, you can easily Google it. But Muscari are these very, very precious spring flowers that are here and then they're gone. What I love about this, okay, there's so many things I love about this. First of all, this is a pattern I've had for years. It feels like it's got to be 4 or more years. I'm loving the pattern. I love the asymmetry of the lace. Muscari are, when you see them, they're sort of like one on top of the other, like this, like this, like this. They aren't like this, like this, like this. And they sort of have these little beaded petals all the way around the stem. So they're just really special flowers. And I talk a lot more about the Muscari flowers and their significance to me in the previous video. So if you haven't seen that, you can go hear it, all about it. My flowery past. The yarn I'm using, it is the DeRurum Natura Gilliat, which is a worsted weight. It feels like a single spun wool. It's a French wool company, and it is 100% wool, and the color is poivre, which I think means pepper in French. So each ball has something like 225 yards, I believe. It's a generous skein. Yeah, it's a really generous skein. I've gotten really far, and I think I've only used two skeins. Not even two. I knit up the sleeve. If you've been here for a while, you know that when I knit garments, I really like to knit the sleeve first. I mean, not first, but after I've kind of split for sleeves and done a few rows, I always do a sleeve, because I think that just, for me, helps me really understand how it's going to sit and lay and hang and all those things. So I finished the sleeve. I've pretty much been knitting to pattern. I haven't made any changes. I'm knitting on the body on a US 9 or 10. Hold on. I usually have to go down a needle size. Yeah, so the pattern calls for a 10. I'm using a 9. But I did use a 10 for the sleeves because I just wanted kind of a generous, sleeve. This is the size M2, and it will have a bust circumference of 43¼ inches, and it should have about 4 to 6 inches of ease. So this yarn is so buoyant and scrumptious. It is so incredibly soft, and it's really not like any wool I've used before. It reminds me of Brooklyn tweed yarn, but it's not quite as fragile. Anyway, I'm just so excited. I think kind of knitting this when I watching stuff or hanging out with my kids while they do homework, that kind of thing. So Muscari sweater by Midori Hirose, I recommend this pattern highly. It's so pretty, and I cannot wait to be done. And they do actually talk about it as a short sleeve version or a long sleeve. I sort of was somewhere in the middle. I didn't do a full sleeve, but I wanted it to be, like a 3/4 length. So yeah, just wanted to mention those details. Another thing I'm working on that I'm really excited about. So I was lamenting a lot about the summer knitting, and then I've really been thinking about this a lot because, when it gets hot here, it is really hot, and I'm not sure I want to wear knitwear of any kind when it's really hot. I really want to knit that seashell set that I showed, I think a couple of episodes previously. I discovered something in this recent WIP that I want to share that is related to that seashell set, because I was really struggling with gauge, and I think I have a solution. So I cast on this week, let me find the right side. I cast on the Kuutar top by Sari Nordlund. It is a really beautiful lace camisole. It's a little hard to see now because it's hard to see, it's not blocked, and I really am only about halfway through the chart, but it does create a very, very pretty lace pattern. So the camisole is designed with lace kind of bib in the front, and then it joins for sleeves, sorry, joins in the round, and it's just straight stockinette. I wonder if I brought the pattern. Let me see. Anyway, it's obviously on Ravelry, and a lot of people have made it, and she has many different, you know, designs with this lace pattern applied. So I decided for summer, I'm gonna make this little camisole, which actually I could wear all year round. It's so pretty in the photographs, and it's really nice. It's really nice to knit. And what I'm super excited about is actually the yarn that I'm using is a new to me base by Moondrake, and it is their merino linen. It is 90% superwash merino and 10% linen, and the color is navy. However, it's so much more than navy, as hopefully you can see. It's such a beautiful kind of petrol slate, deep, deep blue color that it's hard to believe it's just called navy, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So this is kind of one of my forays into, you know, blended linen blends, summer and spring blends. And at first I was really struggling to get gauge. I mean, I was gonna have to go down like 2 or 3 needle sizes, and I just was like, I could not figure out how to make that work. I would have to go up so many sizes, and I didn't want to do that. So some of you might know that when I first started knitting, I was taught the English or throw style knitting, and I knit that way for most of my knitting life. And then over COVID, I wanted to change. I just wanted, like, I don't know, I really wanted to learn how to knit continental, and I saw a wonderful video by Aimee and Carlos, and so I basically followed that tutorial and learned how to Norwegian style of knitting. I adore it. I love it so much. It has really like sped up my knitting. It's just so much easier because you're not doing a lot of yarn back, yarn front, yarn back, yarn front. In the Norwegian style, your yarn is always in the back, and you're really just changing the position of the needle. So it's wonderful. They have excellent tutorial. So one of the things though, when I did change to Norwegian style, is that my knitting gauge grew. So it was, I was knitting at a much looser gauge. So, which was not a problem. I've totally adapted everything so that, you know, that'll work. But I haven't done a lot of like lace work and sort of tops, and because I was struggling so much with the gauge, I actually decided, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do a swatch in English style knitting. And lo and behold, I got gauge, which is so exciting. So it's weird. It's feels like it's taking forever, but it looks really pretty. I am knitting. Anyway, the other thing I'm doing, okay, this is also something I have talked about, and because I just think why I've never heard of this until very recently, I don't know, but it doesn't matter because now I know, and I'm so excited to share it with you if you don't know, which is combination knitting. So on my ribbing, in my lace, when I'm using Norwegian and I really need a uniform, neat fabric, I've started purling I think it's just called combination knitting. And what happens is you're using less yarn to wrap the purl stitch. And so the result of that is a twisted stitch, but it doesn't matter because you just either knit through the back or purl through the back on the next go around. And it's just, it has really changed my ribbing 100% for sure. It's, I used to have a really loose purl because I don't know, it just didn't look nice in the Norwegian style. But now it's a crisp, really beautiful purl stitch. It's very even with my knit stitches. Andrea Mowry has a wonderful tutorial on combination knitting. And since I've just discovered that, which has been pretty recently, it's really changed a lot for the better in my sort of the details in my knitting. So I also recommend her tutorial on combination knitting. And yeah, so this is, this yarn is also incredibly soft. And I have 2 skeins, which I think are going to be very much plenty. I am not going to, so the pattern actually has you do the lace pattern in the front. You can't see that. In the front and in the back. I am only going to do the front, and I think I'm going to do the back just a simple stockinette. You rarely see the back. I have this hair that covers it. I think I just rather have like something special in the front. So that is the Kuutar top. The size I'm making, it's the 3rd size. And I'm also using the recommended needles, which is like amazing. And that's just thanks to my much tighter, you know, English thrower style of knitting, much tighter. So US 3 for the lace, and then a US 4 for the body stockinette, which I'm not there yet. And then I believe you're picking up and doing an I-cord to finish the sleeve openings, and you sort of take that up for the sleeves. So yeah, sorry, something is weird. Okay, anyway, I'm also carrying it around in my beautiful little bag. This is a project bag from the company M.A.B.E.L. And I got this at Woolen Folk. So not all a complete disaster. No, it really was a disaster. But, oh, I also got this. This is also a bag from M.A.B.E.L. And I really love this bag. I use this bag whenever I can. This designer, she uses a lot of recycled quilts and fabrics, and then she does these really beautiful quilting pattern designs. I love this one because it's just really big. I can put a whole sweater in here, and it sits really nicely on a table. So yeah, I'm representing all the M.A.B.E.Ls here. Okay, so that's all the stuff that's going on. So it's really like, I'm really only kind of focusing on 2 knits right now, which is interesting. I did allude to what my next cast on is going to be. And while I really can't totally commit, because part of me also just wants to make a big granny square blanket, I just was going through a bunch of my bags and I found all these granny squares that I've made over the last year. So I had these crazy tropical, I'm sure some of you remember these tropical granny squares. I also have a bunch of Nutiden granny squares, and then I have some other gorgeous, fluffy mohair granny squares, none of them, they don't relate to one another, but they were all knit during the summer, and it was kind of this aha, that's what I like to make in the summer. I like to carry around a small amount of yarn and crochet granny squares. So that's kind of next. I haven't figured out yarn for that yet, but that's sort of, I think, where I want my summer knitting. That's the direction I want it to go in once I finish the Kuutar cami. But I did allude to the, what is it called? Striation. Oh, can't remember the name of the shawl. Anyway, it's a West Knits design from this year. It's a giant, kind of wavy, yummy, very minimal lace. I forget what it's called. It's like called either Phantom Feather or Peacock Stitch. And I bought a kit, and it was called Bangkok Nights in Bangkok. And the kit was yarn from Punk Rock Unicorn, and I did skein up all my yarn, and I just thought I would show everybody. Wait, I don't think it goes that way. Well, I can't remember exactly the order. Oh yeah, this is the order. Anyway, I'm gonna try really hard. Okay, there we go. These are the skeins. And this last one here is mohair. This was a kit. I know I just said that. But these colors are so you know, I want to swear right now. They're so gorgeous. And this shawl is really calling me. I mean, obviously I skeined everything up this past week because I was like, should I cast this on? It's huge. It is huge. So I'm kind of wrestling with either casting this giant shawl on or a colorwork sweater. I really want to make the Paulina by Teti Lutsak. It's got, I'm sure you all know the design, but if you don't, it's a beautiful colorwork sweater with kind of a roughly open neck, and it has, it's kind of a very Marimekko style floral motif. And I know she designed it in honor of the artist Paulina, I can't remember, but I'll put it below. And this artist I'm very familiar with. She did a lot of these very kind of folk art. I believe she was Dutch. And anyway, or Ukrainian. Actually, she was probably Ukrainian. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's an homage to her work. And so that sweater, I'm really kind of, I really want to make that sweater. And I feel really good about the fact that I kind of let go of this, my conflict over summer knitting, because maybe that's just not the thing that I want to do. And that's all good. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, oh yes, so here's the celebratory part. Happy birthday to us, this beautiful community here on the channel. And I really want to celebrate. I want to celebrate by offering three gifts. These are gifts that are directly from me in my cabinet to you. And really, it's more of a sentiment, right? Because obviously I only have these 3 things, and there's many more of you but I did want to mark it. I want to mark this birthday sort of with something special. So the giveaways are going to be, the first one is going to be this luscious skein. This is Posh Yarn, and that is upside down and backwards. Posh Yarn. The base is Audrey Sock, and the colorway is This Kind of Love. The contents are 60% mulberry silk and 40% cashmere. On your feet. What a delight. 440 yards and 100 grams. And I am very excited to give this gorgeous, gorgeous skein away to a viewer. The second gift that I would like to give is also from Posh Yarns. It's also a sock. This one is called Martha Sock, and the colorway is You Just Can't Get the Staff. 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. This is also 440 yards, and look at this color. I hope you can see the color. There. This is absolutely so stunning. It's got like burgundies, rust, like lavender, mauve. It is super soft and yummy. That is the second gift. The third gift is for you sparkle lovers out there. So this yarn is called Pamela, and this is one of the absolute favorites of both my mom and my aunt, Nancy. And I have so much of this, and I will never knit it as long as my lifetime. And so I want to pass it on. And this is a gorgeous, like slate gray. The sparkle is actually really subtle. It's like stars. It's like little stars, far away stars. It's spectacular yarn, and I'm so excited. This would be a great little t-shirt or a shawl. This is the, again, Pamela Sock, and the colorway is Whisper, Hope, and Truth. Wow, what a great name. 440 yards for 100 grams, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. Guys, it's so good. It's so scrumptious. Okay, so those are my 3 gifts to celebrate the birthday of Knit LA. Now, you might be wondering, how am I going to be eligible to win? So what I would very much appreciate is if in the comments below you put your favorite, sorry, I keep getting these weird texts. Okay. So to be eligible for this giveaway, all I ask is that in the comments below, you tell me your favorite knit to date. It can be a sweater, a shawl, a pair of socks, a hat, your most favorite pattern that you've knit for yourself. I'm gonna wait about 5 or 6 days, and then I am going to randomly choose. By randomly, I mean I'm going to elect my child, who happens to be home, to just close their eyes and pick a number. So it's going to be super random. Anyway, let me know what your very favorite pattern that you've knit is thus far. And I will announce the winner in the next podcast, at which point I will then request those 3 winners' personal information over on Instagram. So don't send me any personal information here, but the what I'd love to know is your favorite pattern to date. And these are all the scrumptious ones that are coming your way. And really, this is from my heart, okay? It is, this has been an unexpected joy that has opened up my knitting life, my obviously knitting community life, and it means so, so much to me. So thank you all so much for being here. I do love you all, and I do appreciate all of the comments. And, you know, I'm so excited because this year I am actually planning to attend more fiber festivals. I'm definitely going to Rhinebeck, of course, but I'm also going to be at Flock in Seattle. That's happening in August, and I'm very excited, and I hope lots of you are planning to go too. In about 3 weeks, in the middle of May, there's a wonderful yarn crawl that's happening in Los Angeles, and I am totally doing that with my yarn besties. And if you're planning to go, let me know. Maybe we can coordinate stops. That would be such a blast. Anyway, yeah, so I send you all my love, and thank you again for making this so special. All right, everybody take good care. All right, bye.